Hey, friend, and welcome to Perfect Periods, the place where we discuss how to navigate different periods of life while perfecting our actual periods. What? Like it's hard? I'm your host, fertility awareness educator, Berri on Berri, but you can call me Berri. Here, you'll learn how to master your cycle so you can truly master your life. Now, grab your favorite beverage and maybe a notebook, and let's dive right on in. Hello, Flow Tribe. What is up, y'all? And welcome back to another episode. Listen, I had so many technical difficulties last week, and I'm going to be honest with you. Charge it to my head and not my heart, but I promise you're in for a treat today. So recently, I have gotten off of my menstruation vacation, aka my period was here last week. She's gone now. I'm feeling like baby's back. And as I was getting back into my regular workflow, I read an article that said 32% women are 32% more likely than men to burn out this year. And I was like, but why that? And then the same article shared that women 30 and under are 29% more likely to burn out than their older counterparts. And I was like, girl, what? And then I started thinking about a lot of things. I was thinking about how in our mid to late 20s, we're really ambitious in our careers, right? And then we're also really ambitious in other roles in our life. But as we get older, we try less and less. Not everybody, but quite a few people. And so that inspired me to share with you all on Instagram these statistics, but more specifically, something that I teach inside my program called PACE. PACE is literally a reminder that life is a journey and not a destination. And life is a marathon, not a sprint, right? And we have to really pace ourselves. But this is also an acronym that really does mirror the phases of our cycle. So I want to do a quick introduction to this for you all, but I do want to say this. If you have been wanting to know how to work with your flow rather than against it, work smarter rather than harder, you want to know how to increase your productivity, your profits, as well as your performance, you'll definitely want to go ahead and pre-order my mini course, Workflow, okay? Because this course is going to teach you this stuff on a deeper level and also make it very tangible and practical for those of you who are homemakers, entrepreneurs, or working professionals. There's 3 different mini courses, and it's literally for those of you who want to optimize the way that you work. So I'll leave that linked in the show notes. But here's a high level overview. So phase 1 of your cycle is for planning and preparation. This is literally because of the ideation that you're able to do. This is because, well, at the end of the day, there's 25% more connectivity between the right and left hemispheres of your brain. So you want to plan and prep, okay? And that's because in phase 2, you're going to act and assess. You're going to look at the plan and then you're going to take action on that plan. Okay, because during phase 2 of your cycle, during the follicular phase, the hippocampus and the amygdala are actually said to activate and grow on a deeper level and be very much so in a state of learning, memorization, and really implementing those things, right? So action and assessment. During the 3rd phase of your cycle, ovulation, you're going to create, communicate, and connect, right? Because of this activity within our hippocampus and our amygdala, right? These are the parts of the brain for really connecting with others, for learning, memorizing, but also you're going to pair that with a surge in your hormones. We know that testosterone spikes during ovulation. We know there's that surge of estrogen. We know about the surge of the luteinizing hormone. So you're going to capitalize on that, all right? And this will also kind of pour over into that early luteal. But the moment you notice that you are testy, right? You're in the 4th and final phase of your cycle, the luteal phase, right? You're going to evaluate things. Why? Because research shares that your brain goes from being very allocentric and focused on the external world to being very egocentric and focused on the internal world. So that is going to be the time for evaluation, okay? So just to recap, phase 1 is planning and preparation. Phase 2 is for action and assessment. Phase 3 is going to be for creation, communication, and connection. And then our fourth and final phase is for evaluation. Now, when it comes to understanding the nuances of the phases of your cycle, by now I believe you definitely know. However, if you are ready to learn how to work with your flow and really take it to the next level in an intentional way, and you like acronyms, you like methodologies, and you want to really understand how to increase productivity, profits, and performance, then you'll definitely want to get inside of workflow. Okay. If you need a refresher's course on the 4 phases of your cycle, you know where to go. You're not new to this. You're true to this. Okay. You know, hang out with me over on Instagram. You know to check out the YouTube channel. You know the phases by now. But if you're really ready to optimize them, if you're ready to master your cycle so you can master your life, then you will definitely want to pre-order the workflow mini course. And I do just want to say this. This is something that's different based off of like where you are in life. So I created a mini course for homemakers, one for entrepreneurs and one for working professionals. And that's because the advice that I would give to a working professional is not the same advice that I would give to somebody who's a homemaker. It's not the same advice that I would give to an entrepreneur. Furthermore, the way that people work when they're entrepreneurs versus working professionals is very different. Like the advice that I'm going to give to somebody who is an event planner and they own their own event planning business versus the advice that I would give to somebody who is a teacher, two very, very different things. Also, the way that I would teach it to a teacher is very different than how I would teach it to somebody who's an event planner, which is also going to be vastly different than how I would teach somebody who is a homemaker, right? So again, if you are a homemaker, if you are an entrepreneur, or you identify as a working professional, and if you identify as all three, like I get it, but you do need to pick like one title, right? One scope that you're trying to improve. Just know that workflow has been intentionally and thoughtfully designed for you. I want to share a quick testimonial for somebody who is a creative entrepreneur specifically. This is something that came to my DMs. She said, I recently started working with my cycle based off of what you've taught, and I've been able to get over my creative blocks. And it's helped with my own content marketing and that of what I do for my clients. Since I started prioritizing the right things and not all of the things, I've also noticed that creativity just flows easily and I don't get cramps either. I used to get really bad cramps and really bad fatigue, and the creative blocks were killing me. Now we're good. I love working with my cycle rather than against it. And I also want to share another testimonial that I got for somebody who works in finance. And what I love about this one was the fact that like it's a male dominated industry. Like, let's be real, that's what finance is, right? And she said, I work in finance and I've started applying your principles, and oh my gosh, it has made the biggest difference in my productivity. I appreciate the fact that you emphasize brain health over gut health when it comes to working in sync with your cycle and increasing productivity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now listen, y'all, I'm not going to sit here and say I got the sauce, but clearly I am doing something a little bit different than most people when it comes to increasing productivity and profits and performance in sync with your cycle. And I get really excited just sharing these things with you all because I think a lot of times people forget the importance of like just understanding not only how your body works, but implementing it. I think that's why I stopped teaching cycle syncing the way that like was traditionally taught and started teaching it my way because I just understand things so differently. And I think like that's a gift I've been given, is to help you guys understand these high level concepts in a really, really tangible way. If you haven't pre-ordered workflow yet for like your specific lifestyle, please do. Like, it's going to change the game for you. But I also want to say this: if you're not following Optimize Your Flow on Instagram yet, please start. I have created a completely different like content strategy that I've noticed you all are loving. Like, we're talking about secrets to being successful with cycle syncing. We're talking about cycle syncing strategies for different professions. And it's something that, again, I really want you all to know is possible for you. It doesn't matter if you are in a male dominated industry. You can work in sync with your cycle. You can live in sync with your cycle. It doesn't matter if you have kids. You can quite literally you can mom so hard in sync with your cycle. And you know what's so fun for me is like knowing that like what I'm teaching you, I'm living. So I have worked in a male dominated industry. For those of you who don't know, pre-COVID, I was working in construction and development as a project manager. They did not care if I was bleeding, right? But my ability to communicate it and to understand, like, one, this is how you communicate in a male-dominated industry. This is how you work in a male-dominated industry and don't get burned out. Wow. Life-changing, game-changing. My ability to practice cycle syncing, and like, in case you guys missed the life update episode, I now have stepkids. I love my boyfriend so much, and he came with 2 little ones, and like, they are also in sync with my cycle, and I'm stepmomming so hard in sync with my cycle. Like, the stuff that I'm teaching is actually because I've lived it. And obviously you all know I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I operate several businesses from home, but these businesses have a lot of moving parts. And I've noticed that my ability to work and flow has just changed. But again, the advice I would give to somebody who's a working professional versus what I would tell a homemaker versus what I would tell an entrepreneur is so different. And like, the benefits of these things are like different. So make sure you like check out workflow. For instance, if you're an entrepreneur wanting to work in sync with your cycle, right? One of the things that I make sure you know how to do is actually launch things in sync with your cycle. Believe it or not, you can actually plan your entire launch in sync with your cycle, and you won't have to feel stressed out. If you are a stay-at-home mom or a homemaker, I teach you the perfect technique, which is actually the same perfect that's in the title of this podcast. Perfect is an acronym. Clearly, Berri loves her acronyms, but like, I teach you how to do these things in sync with your cycle. If you are a working professional, we talk about project management and delegation, and you know, we look at how to do certain things on a deeper level. We talk about the PACE method at a level that's not so like just like this is a high level overview. Like, we get really, really micro, but not micro in the sense of like overwhelm. We get micro in a way that makes sense for you and your lifestyle. So, in case you needed just a little bit more encouragement to pre-order workflow, this is your sign. If you have been tired of burning out, if you've been tired of dealing with the brain fog and all of that, like, truly get inside of this. Like, I'm not going to stop talking about workflow. Like, just get into it. As always, I'm sending big love and flowy vibes. And friend, I will definitely be checking in with you soon. Also, just know the course is going to be available on February 22nd, which is my birthday if you're listening to this live. So the pre-order price will officially be going away on my birthday. So like, I'm just saying, you're going to want to get it right now. Hey friend, if you enjoyed today's episode, can you do me a solid and leave a rating and review? And if you have some friends going through a different period of life where they want a little bit more peace, or perhaps they just want a better period, make sure you share this with them, because here we're all about having a period and a life, an enjoyable one at that. As always, I'm sending big love and flowy vibes.